Hey Scorpio, it is time for your October tarot reading, and this will be your general. And I went ahead and pulled your cards. I am using the Vice Versa Tarot. And I'm holding this up in reverse, the back of the box, because a lot of your cards came up in reverse tonight. It's a little late, so I don't know how the lighting is. It's a little different than what I usually do, but hopefully it works and you can see everything all right. We start off with the Two of Cups, which is in reverse. This is the front, so that is the way that it came up. We have the Ten of Cups, the Magician in reverse. This Ten of Cups is in reverse as well, by the way. That is the front. We have the Ten of Wands in reverse. That's the front. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. And that's what he looks like. We have the Fool in reverse. We have Judgment in reverse. Sorry, that's the front, and this is the back. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. This is the front. We have the King of Pentacles in, this is actually the front of that one. The reverse is actually the light side, which is kind of interesting. And then we have, the Chariot in reverse, and that is the front. So it looks like, Scorpio, this reading is either about a romantic relationship or the relationship with self in masculine and feminine. Looking at the Two of Cups here, and you can see it, so this image is actually on the Ace of Cups in this deck as well, the fountain that's in the background. But what's interesting is the way that they are meeting, and they're also holding this symbol here with the cup coming out of the cups, which is the serpent like image that you'll also see on like ambulances and stuff like that, which is kind of a reference to healing, which is why I say it's either a relationship or it could be like the beginning, the early stages of a relationship, or it is mending your relationship with self between masculine and feminine. And I'm more inclined to say that this is the relationship between self, masculine and feminine, because it is this perfect relationship, very blessed, very meant to be. And that's not to say that you don't have that perfect relationship, but this does skip a lot of steps. So if this is a romantic relationship, I wouldn't say that it is a new relationship, because there's a lot of stages that it's not referencing here, but more so a healing of a relationship. So if this is a relationship for you, it will be a relationship that you've been in for a long time, not like a couple of months or something like this. This is like probably, I want to say a year or more that you've been in this relationship. And you can see the reverse of this actually has that fountain on here as well. So I'm seeing this as more so with the fountain, the way the fountain is showing up here, and it's like the opposite of that. Yeah, I really feel like, because this would be future state, like something that you are thinking about manifesting, but this is definitely where you are in the relationship. So again, relationship with self, healing, or healing a situation in a romantic relationship. And this is the Magician in reverse. So usually with the Magician, I want to talk about how this is you making your own path But in this context where it is in reverse, it's like watching someone else make their own path, and not even so much make their own path, but being in the fullness of their own creativity and being in a really good space when it comes to understanding their own magic. And I feel like that's part of what was going on that's being healed. But it's like there's still something going on, because at the same time we have the Ten of Wands here where someone's really overburdened. And so I feel like it's telling two very different stories here. What this relationship isn't, it's a really good relationship, but there's a lot, like somebody is so this is a good relationship, but there's a phase right now where there's somebody who's really strong in their ability to manifest and create, and there's somebody who's really overburdened right now. And I don't read this as, I'm reading this like this person is willing and able to work the magic that they're working right now, but their partner feels like they're not doing enough, and they're taking on, honestly, this person, they feel like they don't want to be a burden to their partner. But at the same time, they don't feel like their partner, like they feel like this is their partner, and their partner's really this. So it's like the two sides of the relationship. But the reason that this partner feels that way is because there's something hidden. You can see here with the turtle, this is the Knight of Cups. There's something emotional that they're not sharing, and it's when I say it's their burden to bear, I'm not saying that you can't confide in your partner or that you don't talk to them, but I feel like this is really, Scorpio doesn't really talk about their feelings. So Scorpio, I feel like this is you, like your partner, the person that you're dealing with, they're like doing really well, and you're not telling them something emotional, an emotional burden that you are carrying by yourself. And it's like, it's been there for a long time, and it's very slow to develop this emotional burden. And there was something that I was reading about turtles, and I don't really remember what it was. I don't know if I looked it up. I don't think I looked it up. But it's like you're feeling all of this, and you're feeling alone and overburdened with it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the reverse of the cards. So this is the Ten of Wands in reverse. So it's a little bit of a lighter perspective, but you don't see the statue looking down on him. And here, I feel like that statue is coming through very strong, as feeling like everybody is watching you go through this struggle. but that ultimately you're in it by yourself, and nobody actually knows this truth. I don't think that you even really realize that there's something big emotional that's kind of lumbering through the background. And the reason that your partner is still in that good headspace, it's not because they don't see what you're going through, but because they recognize that they can't actually do something about it. Like the way that they the way that they can support you best is by staying in the most positive aspect of themselves. And it seems, and like right now you feel like that's selfish of them, because you kind of want someone to sit in the shadows with you. But at the same time, we have the Fool in reverse. Sorry, I didn't mean to like flip that all over the place. We have the Fool in reverse, and there's that comet going through, which is like, it could be a comet or it could be a shooting star. Like you're following this wish. But I feel like also this is a pattern, because it's not this hopeful young new energy of the Fool, but it's like this shadowed one where you're doing this again. And like the petals are falling off a flower, like he loves me not, and you can see the crown and the cup on the ground. And like from this angle, it almost looks like he's about to kick that off. Like he's forgetting about his emotions. He's not ruling the energy. And from this perspective, like the guides are behind him, like, hey, where are you going? Like, this isn't he's like going into the darkness, not walking with the light at his back. I don't know if that makes sense. And then we go from the Fool in reverse to Judgment in reverse. And for some reason, this card reminds me of like Adam and Eve trying to go back into the garden, and there's the chair, the angel is like standing there with the sword. But in this case, he's got the ram's horn, which is kind of like waking the dead. And of course with Judgment and facing front, you can see that they're coming out of their tombs. And in that regard, like, death is just a new beginning. But from this perspective, it's less of like leaving the tombs behind and really because in and of itself, Judgment is more of resurrection and starting new. And there's this eagle in front, which is speaking to like your wishes being fulfilled. So this is like working through your process, but it doesn't seem like that at all. It seems like you've worked through your process, and now it's like you get to the end and you're missing something. And instead of this being a beautiful moment, actually feeling judged, like literal judgment in this situation. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. And he's got the moon, Mercury. I have this all here. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. So if you have your Saturn, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn, this is probably going to resonate with you a bit more strongly. But here, like on the front of that, you can see that he's like looking down at the world that he's made. I feel like in this context, Scorpio, you are judging yourself in this situation. So it's like, not only do you not feel supported, you're looking at the whole situation and you feel bad for wanting to be supported differently than you are being supported. And it's difficult in this situation to say because you are carrying a lot emotionally and your partner doesn't know what is actually bothering you emotionally, and so they are powerless to help you in this situation. So all they feel they can do, all they really can do until you say something to them, is live their best life. And I know that sounds cold, but you haven't communicated it in this situation. You haven't communicated it. So if this is a relationship, it's really verbally communicating this to your partner. If this is within self, you have to be honest with yourself. So there's a little bit, I mean, yeah, you have to be honest with your partner, but whoever you're communicating to, like, especially with Scorpio, I feel like if it's a relationship, you just have to communicate, because that's not something that you always do. You don't always just say, hey, this is how I feel about this. But within self, it's getting real with yourself and being honest with yourself. That's when we come to the King of Pentacles. Let's just say this is not like a work relationship. This is relationship. So self, romantic, friendship. But it is not work, because in your here with the King of Pentacles, like you are rocking it. There's abundance here. So like financially, you've got your ducks in a row. It's not like you're like, oh, I don't feel supported with my job or something like that. Or it's not even that the work is your job. It's literally carrying a heavy, heavy burden. But at the end of this, that's when we have the Chariot. So there's also the Cancer energy here. And again, it brings up that symbol for healing and medical aid. And there's a lion and a cobras on their heads. I never noticed this before, but they have the Big Dipper up in the sky. And so Scorpio, somehow Cancer plays into this, but also it is in reverse. So I want to say regressing in this situation. Like this is something that you've worked through before. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I find that lessons do come up, and it's like when you're learning something and you're like learning a piece of music or something, like you start to play it and then you play a wrong note, but you're like, oh no, that's not the right note, and you don't just keep playing that note. Like you go through and it's almost like your fingers are tripping over the keys. And for some reason this makes me think of piano, playing the piano, and your fingers are like tripping over the keys. So as you're going through this process, you're like tripping over a piece of it, and that piece I feel like is communication. I'm gonna clarify just to what is the piece that Scorpio is tripping over. All right, so I got 2 cards that popped out. So we have the 9 of Wands in reverse. And for some reason, this makes me think of like Hulk smash. Like he's like all beat up, and she's like trying to like lure him towards her almost. And I think it makes me think of like a wounded, like there's that story of the lion with the thorn in his paw, and the guy like takes the thorn out of the lion's paw. And even though the lion runs away, like when they come back together, the lion remembers. So we have also, he's got the sun and moon on his breastplate. We also have the 9 of Pentacles. And what really stands out to me in this one is here where she has the dove landing on her hand. I feel like this, like I said at the beginning, I feel like this is a good relationship, be it with self or with somebody else, and it's really about opening up and being honest about your feelings. Like, and not just honest about them, but actually communicating them, whether that be to yourself or to your partner. Because I don't think they know how to help you. And I'm just kind of thinking about that, how your partner sees this situation. And I want to see if I can maybe get a little more on that, because I really feel like, so I just got like a whole bunch of cards jumped out at once, and I feel like that's how if this is internal, like you feel so much emotion about this situation that you don't know where to begin. And if that is a partnership, they have no idea. Like they're speculating all over the place. Because, and that like where and yeah, again, I had just a bunch of cards fall out. And that's where I go back to whenever a lot of cards come out, it's like there's a lot of decisions still to be made. And again, and like I pull a card here, and it's the 4 of Swords. And I like to call this card my Nero fiddled while Rome burned, because on the other side you can see there's like everything's on fire in the background, and he's just sitting there having a snooze. Like, this is your partner. They know everything's on fire. They just don't know what to do about it. They don't know, like, you can't even, in the background, you can just see there's fire. You can't even see what's on fire. They literally don't know, Scorpio. So even if it's just like the confusion, so much emotion that you don't know what's on fire, like you don't know what's making you crazy, or your partner's looking at the situation like, I don't know. And it really does come down to communication and not being defensive. Scorpio, I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you had a good month of October. I hope things get better, and I will see you back again soon in November.